I spent a whole lot of years praying that God was just going to bless whatever I was already running towards, meaning like my ambition would kind of trump my faith, but I'd act like my ambition was being driven by my faith. And I don't really want to do that anymore. I don't want to set that example for my kids. I don't want to lead that way in my business. And I want to tell you what specifically I pray instead, because if you are a driven, ambitious entrepreneur, leader, and you're about to make your next big move, or you really want to step into congruence with what God's calling you to, and you don't want that ambition to override Him, you need this specific prayer before you take another step. And I use it every single day, every new opportunity that I face, and I think it's really going to serve you. I'm Liz Hartke. I homeschool a whole crew of my kiddos from home, as I also lead Luminary Leadership Company, my business, where I advise founders like you who want a business that gives more than it takes, who wants to step into your calling, your big next, in alignment with your values and your family and what matters most in your life. You know that feeling that feels like you are struck with a lightning bolt of inspiration. You're so excited about it. You are so convinced this has to be from God because it is so clear to you. You have this energy behind it. And that excitement can sometimes also be followed by a level of peace when you think about it. So then you're like, oh, it is definitely of God. Like, I am so pumped. This is what He's calling me to. And the vision's really clear, and all of those things start to add up, okay? So you run with it. You start building around it. You build your business around it. You pursue it. You get excited about it. And then ultimately you get to this place where you're like, okay, now I'm putting in the hard work and I'm really leveraging my strong will to continue on this path. And you are pushing through it because you said in the beginning, right? You had that excitement and that ambition and that peace around it that must be from God. So you have to keep going. So after you got this thing off the ground, whatever it was, your business, your next idea, your next offer, doesn't matter. You ask God, you bring God into it. You're like, yeah, I totally have God alongside me in my business, right? Like, I don't do this alone. I co-create with Him because I ask God to bless this and I pray all the time before I work and during my work. I was doing just that for my entire career until somewhat recently when I realized, oh wait, this is not actually how it works. This is not what it means to lead with faith, to allow God to dictate and tell me what is of Him for my life, like His will for my life and His will for my business. And then I kept wondering why it started to feel so heavy. Not hard, because hard's good, right? Challenge is good. We thrive in challenge, but more like heavy. Like, why does this feel like a weight when originally I had this spark of ambition and excitement around something that I could have sworn was from Him? So I spent years building that way and asking God to just bless the things that maybe He was never actually asking me to build. So how do you discern that? I want to talk through the whole thing today. And then I specifically want to give you a prayer that I use all the time. It's nothing fancy. I'm not like crazy polished when it comes to prayers. I just kind of speak my heart that has brought me a ton of clarity and peace as an entrepreneur, as a mother, and just in my pursuits, knowing what's for me in certain seasons and what's not, and allowing God to actually drive the train, not just be like, hey, God, I'm already on this freight train. Like, you coming? You hopping on because we're going like 1,000 miles an hour. I've kind of flipped the script on that and it's working really well for me, and I just want to share it with you. I've personally just been the type that's wired with an obnoxious level of ambition. I am all gas, no brakes. And sometimes that squeezes out humility, which means that at some point you're going to get humbled in the process. So many times over, I have built things that have worked until they didn't. Maybe they worked on paper, right? Like they brought in the revenue, or they got me the magazine features or the stages, right? They were working by the metrics of business and general success. But because I had confused my own excitement and my own ambition for what God was actually directing me into, probably more times than I can count, because of that, eventually it stopped working. I would get to this place where it felt so heavy and so overwhelming and so stressful. And I just felt like, it gets masked as burnout or something like that. But really what it was I was doing something that was actually not in God's plan for me in this season, because I was so hyped up on my own ideas and things that I brought to the table that I thought, oh, this must be of Him because it's so clear and I feel it. And it came as like a direct download and all those things that we might say. So let's talk about the cycle for a minute, because I see this in a lot of my clients, and it's this. You get an idea, it floods you with a level of excitement that you can't even handle. You're so pumped. This must be something inspired from the divine. It feels like confirmation. And what you've really done is you've started to validate this excitement because you want to do it. You're like, this is a great idea. And you start to run with it. And then as you're already sprinting, you're saying, okay, God, will you bless this? If this is something that is on my heart and I'm so excited about it, will you please open the doors? Will you please make it happen? But it's after you've kind of already emotionally and maybe even like tangibly in your day-to-day committed to this idea. So you're not actually seeking direction. You're seeking approval for a decision you've already made. And I think there's a huge difference between, God, is this actually yours? And God, just make this work for me, right? Let it bear fruit. I'm being faithful. I'm being obedient. I'm doing what you're calling me to do. Can you bless it? And I think I was only ever praying the second one. I didn't know that necessarily until I started to reflect back on these patterns in my life. I see it all the time. It's easier for me to see in other people, but I see it all the time in others. And I'm starting to recognize it in myself. The times where I felt like that excitement was actually some kind of anointing, but excitement is sometimes just excitement. It's ambition. And that ambition can get away from you. You can like create its own energy and build and momentum, right? And that motion towards the excitement feels like progress. And I think that for people who are specifically very driven, this is particularly dangerous here because we can make almost anything work, right? So we never get that clear no because we can make it happen. The door doesn't close because we keep kicking it open. And that was the truth for me, where I was like, okay, God, if this isn't it, just close that door. But I'm like, what happens when I keep wedging my leg in the door and you can't close it? Because I keep kicking it open because I keep saying, no, but I want this to happen. So I want to talk to you about the actual prayer. I'm not giving you a super polished version. I don't have notes in front of me. It doesn't come out the same way twice, but I want to give you the premise of it so that you can take it and make it your own. Because this is something that has really lifted a great burden on me. It has also put me more clearly on the path that God wants me on. And it's allowed me to confirm it both through His word, through continuous patterns that He's brought into my life, like the awareness of the old patterns I have that I could break to step into these new positive patterns that allow me to stay in line with what I feel like He's really calling me to, and with wise counsel, like continuous, I won't say validation, but reassurance from people that I really trust who are also aligned with being obedient and doing what God's calling them to do. So I pray this before any big move or any big leap. I pray this around any new idea. I pray this around the same idea that keeps flooding in over and over. I pray it around a project that's ongoing. I pray it around my business because I'm ready. I'm just at a point in my life, and I have to be careful how I say this because I know God will come in and be like, you said, and then drop it on me. And it always comes with great challenge. So I'll tell you a few things I weave into this prayer so that the path is not painful, because sometimes what happens is, when you say what I'm about to say, which is I'm in a place in my life where if it is not aligned with what God's calling me to, I don't want it. The reason I say that that's a scary thing to say, because there have been times where I've said that, and then that thing that I once really loved and was really clinging tightly to because it was my idea and I was excited about it and it was generating revenue, that door slammed shut. And it kind of like slam shuts on my fingers where it's like, ouch, that hurts. So there's something I now weave into my prayer so that it is not painful to turn that cruise ship and step more closely into that alignment for what God has for you. But I want to paint a full picture of this, because if you are the type that's really ambitious, it can be very uncomfortable sometimes to hand over the reins and say, God, I actually do trust you. Like, what if God came to you today and said, shut it down? Shut the business down. This is not the path for you anymore. I know you've poured your heart and soul into it for the last decade. I know you've poured your money into it. I know this is what you're known for. I know that your validation is tied up in this and your worth is tied up in this. Shut it down tomorrow. Would you do it? Would you be like, okay, God, awesome. Thank you for the answers. Or would you be like, yeah, that's valid, but I really like this. And my identity is tied into this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tweak it and I'm going to make it feel as though it's very aligned with you, because you've called me to something different, but I'm not ready to go all in on what you call me to. So instead of going all in, I'm just going to like make it look different, and then it'll feel more of you. And then I'll tell myself that this was what you are calling me to. I think all the time of the story around Joanna Gaines, right? If you read her Magnolia book from years ago, there's this one part in her path where she had been working so hard on building up Magnolia. And this is before she was ever on HGTV and before she had a big name or any name publicly or anything like that. And she had built it up and she'd started her Magnolia store, just her local store. And it was crushing. Like it was doing so well. She was hiring people and putting other families to work from her area and providing for their families, which was something that was on her heart. It was like her dream store had come to life and she loved it. And it was doing incredibly well financially, in the community, all the things, checking all the boxes. Oh, I've made it. This was my dream and it's happening. And then she felt God clearly tell her, which I wish sometimes he would be a little more clear to me, like she said he was to her, but he clearly told her, close the doors. Not like pause it for a season, shut for the winter, downsize it, hire someone else to handle it so you can be home with the kids. Close the doors. Close the doors. And not close the doors because I have something incredible coming. HGTV is going to call you. Just make space for what I have for you. No, just close the doors. And when I read that story and how she actually did it, and she went through all the thoughts, but I'm employing people and it's providing for their families. And this is what I've always wanted to do. And we have this space. We've already paid for it. We have all this inventory. Close the doors. So she closes the door without explanation of what's coming next, without reassurance that there's going to be money coming in through another avenue, without knowing exactly what's going to happen to those families that she was paying them by working at her store, without knowing what the community, how they're going to respond, without knowing if she's ever going to get to do anything in the realm of what she's passionate about again, because God's just telling her to close the doors on something that was so successful. So she closes those doors and then, not right away, not the next week, I don't even think the next year, she gets the call from HGTV. And we've seen what happens from there, right? We've seen how he blessed not her vision, his vision for her life that was completely different than what she thought it was going to be, what she could have strong-armed and did strong-arm and made it happen. So that's where I'm coming from today. This place of like, if he said to you, you say you want to know what he has for you. You say, tell me, God, I want to know your will for me. But what if he told you and you were like, yeah, but just not that particular will. What's behind door number 2? No, that's not how this works. So this is what I pray. And I bring it to him when I'm excited about a new idea. I just did this the other day. I was in a conference and I got this like zing of excitement around this idea. I journaled it out as I'm in the middle of a conference. They're talking about something totally different and I'm writing pages upon pages of notes and I get it out. That's okay. And then I say, God, I'm putting this down. I'm putting this down. And then I pray this prayer. God, I am so excited about this. Every part of me wants to run with this idea. I am feeling a spark of energy and clarity, but I don't want to take one more step with it if this isn't of you, if this isn't yours for me. So I want you to do something for me, Lord. Please, don't just bless it. I'm not saying like I have this great idea and I just want it to be yours and I want you to make it yours and I want you to bless it and make it happen. Nope. If this is of you, will you reveal that to me? Will you show me this week? Will you show me in a way that I cannot deny that this is truly of you? And make it so obvious in your word through the wise counsel that I seek, right? In the patterns that you bring into my day. And open the doors that I couldn't open myself. Confirm it in such a clear way so that I don't ever have to rely on my own understanding because you tell me not to do that. I want to rely fully on you in this. And I want to trust you fully. So if this is of you, show me, reveal it to me, and then bless it because it's yours. And use me and make the stars align for me, Lord. Allow me to do the things that only I could do with you so that this doesn't feel like another thing that I'm super excited about and ambitious about and that I'm going to strong arm my way into. No, if it's of you, open the doors, show me, reveal it to me. But here's the part that nobody wants to pray. If it is not of you, shut it down. Mercifully, that's the piece I add in. Be gentle, Lord, but be clear, abundantly clear. Let me know in my heart and in my mind that this was a great idea, but it's just not for me in this season, and close the door on it. But don't just close the door on it, Lord. Guard my heart in the process. Please, I am so excited about this, but will you diminish my excitement? Will you actually start to shift my passion for this idea or for this business or for this thing that I'm pursuing? Will you actually start to make it less and less exciting to me? And instead, take that excitement and that ambition, put it towards what is for me in this season, what is of you in this season. So every day, slowly take away my excitement for this idea I have and apply it instead to where you want me. If you want me just in my home with my children, I want you to give me a level of excitement and ambition for that I have for this idea over here. So that I wake up in the morning with the same fervor for my family and for my children that I have right now for this idea. If you want me in a different idea or in a different opportunity, make my excitement, apply it to that. Shift my energy towards what is of you. Give me a passion for your plan, not my plan with your name on it, your plan for me. Be gentle and be merciful, but please, Lord, make it abundantly clear. I don't want to even live in the excitement of something that is not of you. Amen. Now, like I said, I'm not polished in my prayer. I'm just talking to God here. I'm like, he knows my heart already. And I remind him, I say, God, you already know my heart. I want you to know I'm trying here. I won't always get this right. There'll be times that I do make a mistake. I mistake my ambition for your calling for me. But please just direct me gently back onto your path when I do that. Don't let me stay there too long. There might be something you want me to learn or someone you want me to meet or you want me to be humbled in some way. That's all right. I'm in it. I'll do what it is that you're calling me to do, but please don't let me stay on my path too long. Just take me back to your path and do it gently. And I add the mercifully and gently because there have been times in my life where I'm like, yeah, Lord, just shut the door if it's not the thing. And then you experience the pain of that, right? A massive contract just shutting down like the next day. And you're like, oh gosh, where's that money going to come from now this month? That door just got closed. Like it's harder that way. So I always ask him, if it's your will, Lord, can you be gentle on me because I'm tired. I'm tired and I need you to just guide me, but be kind, be merciful. And I think the part that's so hard for people is the second part of diminish my excitement for the things that aren't yours. That costs you your ambition for a minute because I love my ideas. I think my ideas are so great despite the fact that I have about 3,000 of them per day. But I am asking God actively to take away my desire for something that I think I really, really want. And that is not something to be taken lightly. I am asking him to remove a passion from me, but to replace it with a new passion for something that he wants for me. And the reason I love this prayer is because, and why I want to share it with every other driven, ambitious person, especially before like a big move or a decision or something that you're very excited about. It's because without it, you run the risk of building something really impressive that was never yours to build. And you will feel the heaviness and the weight and the exhaustion and the burnout of that, because that's what happens when you're walking the wrong path. The other thing I want to note is sometimes God inspires you with something that is for you, but it's not meant to be acted on yet. All right. This is a key thing that I'm learning because I am wildly impatient and I want to do things yesterday. But sometimes he will plant a seed and you're already out there trying to harvest in the same afternoon. My season right now, okay, homeschooling, newborn baby, nursing around the clock, getting very little sleep, and some other really big things that we have discerned that God has been calling us to that are new and different. God sometimes for me right now, he's planting so many seeds, things that feel like they are truly of him, but they are not meant to be even watered yet, let alone harvested. They're meant to go into the ground and to sit and to receive nourishment just in the process of being there, but they're not meant to bear fruit yet. And that is so difficult for someone wired like me, maybe someone wired like you, right? That seed, you want it to be a tree tomorrow. I have to tell the difference sometimes between move now and not yet, because sometimes you will discern, yes, this is of God, but it doesn't mean it's go time. So does pursuing it require you to neglect what he's already asked you to steward? That's one metric, one thing, that filter you can put it through. You can look at, are the doors opening on their own? Or are you, kicking them down? Is wise counsel helping confirm it? Or are you arguing with everyone who questions you? And can you just write it down? Like I did the other day in that conference, can you write it down, put it on a shelf, and feel some peace? Or does it feel urgent because you're so excited, but not because God's saying, go now, act now? This is the hard part, but this is where the whole premise of walking God's path for you will be fruitful, and where you'll stop feeling like you keep walking down all these detours and wondering why it's not coming to be in the way that you had hoped, or it is coming to be in the way that you had hoped. You're checking the boxes, you're hitting the goals, you're getting the opportunities, but you still feel void of that, this is it? Like you feel void of knowing with all of your being that you are right in your sweet spot doing exactly what God's calling you to do. So pray this first. Pray it first, pray it now, right? You might not have a big next that you're pursuing. You might still be in a season of growing the business that you've had for a long time. But maybe it's time to come to this prayer. Hey, Lord, is this of you? If it's of you, can you just reveal it to me right now? Because I've been working on this for a long time and I'm not so sure. I've kind of lost sight of if this is from you or this is just my ambitiousness, and my ambition took me here. So if it is of you, reveal that to me with great clarity this week. You can even ask him to specifically show you something that you're questioning, right? Can you reveal it around this? And if it is, reveal it and then bless it. Let me feel that wind at my back to know that, yes, I'm on the path. It's okay that it's hard, but this is where you want me right now. But if it is not of you, can you mercifully and gently and somewhat quickly close this door and start to diminish that ambition for the thing that I've built for so long, the thing that only I know? And can you protect me in the process, protect my heart, because my identity is tied up in this, but I want my identity in you. So can you help me make that transition? Can you help me wake up and just feel renewed in the spirit and just know that you're with me and that you're guiding me, and that attachment to my own ambition I can start to release that attachment, and you can start to tether me back to you and what you have for me, and reveal it to me and make it abundantly clear and take me in that direction and close this door, open the door that you want me to open and step through, and give me a heart for that. Align my passions with your passions for me. So this is where I've stopped asking God to bless my plans and started asking him to show me his plans, lay them out. I hope this serves you like it served me. Continue to pray this prayer in all things. Make it your own. Just speak to God. Let him know your heart. He already knows it, but ask him to guide you more clearly, to walk you through this path. It is not easy out there. It is not easy to be an entrepreneur who's living in true faith, but trust that he's walking with you and he's waiting for you to call him in and let him lead. If you want more of this, more of these tough conversations, but these real conversations that need to be had among us entrepreneurs who have a deep faith and want to ensure that we're on the path that God's calling us to, so that we can experience the abundance and the fruitfulness of this life, make sure you hit subscribe. There's more coming. Before you set another goal, before you cast a new vision, go take my leadership style quiz. It's free and it is going to be so profoundly insightful for you. You're going to understand exactly how you're meant to lead, where you're getting bottlenecked and stuck, how to get unstuck and into your big next. Trust me, this is a no-brainer. You're going to have so much freaking clarity from this. You can grab it in the description or go to luminaryleadershipco.com/style.